friends, it's Natasha here at the Cozy Cushion. I just wanted to take an opportunity to remind you your spirit is calling to you. It's always seeking to help you live your best life. Your spirit guides, angels, teachers, and masters really want the best for you. And we have so many beings in the angelic realm that are really rooting for us to feel better, do better, and find our purpose in life in general. That's why I like to come here every Ruby Tuesday and remind you of your spiritual strength that you were born with. Your magic is your birthright, and we all have magic inside of us. We all have a purpose here. We just didn't land here with no purpose at all. I understand the journey can be difficult, and the road can be filled with bumps and sharp turns and loneliness. Oftentimes, our dreams, our spirituality, and our lifetime purpose is very much a self thing. It really has nothing to do with anyone else. So we need to become good managers of ourselves, our habits, and our utilization of free will. We need to understand how powerful, how beautiful, and how able we are in today's world. We have everything we need to live our best life. Sometimes we just choose not to see it. We choose to see the problems of the world. We choose to see the high taxes, the food scarcity, the housing crisis, the suicide epidemic, the drug crisis, the people that just really are down on their luck and they're finding it very difficult to even be here. Makes people like me, an intuitive empath, so sad. I chose to create the Cozy Cushion here to give a voice to your higher self, so that lower self, that insecurity that lives in all of us, can be silenced. I want to teach you how to take your heart's desire and lift it higher than the mind chatter that's so often in our minds. Our fears, our doubts, our anxieties, our depressions, our brokenness, our fears are all part of a mental story that we sometimes we get caught up in. And I like to remind people that you don't have to feed into that. You don't have to follow the trends of today's world. As a matter of fact, I'm here to tell you not to follow any trends that our current world is suggesting that we follow. As a intuitive empath with psychic ability, I know how important it is for our farmers to grow food. I know how important it is for our police services to be able to do their job. I know how important it is for our doctors and nurses to be able to team together to give us great care. Our structures that are outdated, that are barely holding our world together, are becoming more and more and more irrelevant each day. But what I feel is becoming more and more important is each of us. You. You're the most important thing to me. You're important to me because I know that you have a big heart. I know that you care about your loved ones, your friends, your children, and the people in your life. I know you care about you, and I know that you don't want to be stuck anymore. I know that recovery from drug use, alcohol abuse, food abuse can be a ongoing process, and we need to build spiritual muscles to not be tempted to fall back into those easy temporary situations that don't give us wellness. They don't give us love in the long run, and they don't give us that whole scope of what our lives are really meant to be. And the more I get involved in this work, the more I realize we need to stop. We need to slow down. We need to reframe. We need to listen to ourselves. We need to honor ourselves and what we need in this lifetime. We only have one opportunity. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is all we've got in the here and now. I have the luxury as a psychic medium to speak to both sides, the living and the non-living. What I find so ironic about this is oftentimes they are both saying the same things. The dead are saying, let go of the guilt, let go of the hows, stop trying to figure it out, just be here now. And the living are seeking and digging and climbing and striving when they're forgetting that your spirit's calling you to just be present, to step back from the chaos, the busyness, the opinions, the ideas, the narrative, the shoulds. So many people have good intentions with poor execution, but they're really good at wrecking our dreams. Worst off, friends, we're really good at letting them. And I'm here to remind you, you can build spiritual strength. You can build self-reliance, self-responsibility. You can lead your own life with a strong belief system that you've built from the ground up. You can trust yourself. You can make your decisions without asking anybody else. And what if I told you you have everything you need to live a beautiful, vibrant life if you would just stop beating yourself up? If you would stop discrediting yourself. I find that in our trauma, friends, are some of our greatest experiences and life lessons that can help us, help each other, understand ourselves better and each other. We don't need to be judgmental. We don't need to be in the rat race. We don't need to be competitive with each other. When I worked for Curves for Women, I was very competitive with other women. I was very mean. I believed at that time I had to be. It was a survival mechanism. I grew up with a mom that didn't always tell me the truth. And I was surrounded by women who used their pain against people to punish them. And oftentimes I watched them hurt themselves and never live the life of their dreams. When I stepped into Curves and had the belief that I belonged there. At first, I didn't believe that I fit in. I let all those things that were wrong in my life hurt my self esteem. But the women in that room, those memberships that came to work out, those teachers, those nurses, those grandmothers surrounded me completely with their love, and they fine tuned conversations. They fine tuned the belief that I had in myself. They gave me things that I didn't even know I was looking for, like appreciation, love, sisters I didn't even know I had. And it really mattered to them not only how I was that day, but how my future would look for me and my son. At that time, I was a single mom. And I was letting my pain and my trauma eat me alive. I was allowing it to continue making mistakes, the same mistakes over and over again, that usually had more to do with my capacity to live in survival mode than to release that and to accept that I was enough and that I could do things completely on my own, that it wasn't the government holding me back, that there was more to life for me. And I'm kind of fortunate because I've always had a very strong belief in myself. And I've always been able to kind of separate the things that were happening in my life to the things that I would separate them also to what I wanted in life. So there was like two paths that I would always find myself on spiritually. The path of what I thought I wanted and the path of what I knew I wanted. Unfortunately, I used to allow my self-doubt to dictate how I traveled down this road until I hit a certain age and I realized that I was my own worst enemy, that my anxiety and my depression were under my control, that I could become the best manager of myself, that my addiction wasn't a disease that I had. It wasn't because of the needing of me as a young mom to grow up quick. It was me not being responsible for my physical body, for my mental health and well-being. It was me not acknowledging that I mattered more than anything. So when I wanted to have the cozy cushion or build this sacred space, that's what I want to remind you of, is that you have magic and purpose within you. And no matter what it is, it does not have to be a big deal for you to live a very happy and fulfilling life. Oftentimes, it just takes the acknowledgement and the self-responsibility and the self-care to say, I really want this in my life because it brings me joy. I want to live a more joyful life. I find so many people in today's world, they want to take the easy way. And they find it easier, just as an example, to take from somebody else because it's already built, expecting that they'll move into this situation and they'll be ahead of the game. And what I've seen from the outside looking in is that they're still forgetting about themselves. That they're just surrounding themselves with more of the things that they say they didn't want. And it's always baffled me because once they're there, they start blaming other people. It's a little difficult sometimes, when I do readings and people they want to know about love, but they don't want to invest in loving themselves more, which is, something that comes up quite frequently because as I've grown, I've really learned that my psychic protection is tuning into my self awareness, my body. I only have one body. All of us, that's one thing we have in common. We may have a lot of different cultural differences and appearance differences and body structures, composition, and health differences. But the common denominator is, honestly, friends, we all just have one body. We don't get to come into this lifetime and live 9 lives with 9 physical bodies. We get one body to live 9 lives. So that's where spiritual strength really becomes a very important thing, not only for our physical bodies, our spiritual bodies, and our spiritual worlds is our magic, it's our creativity. It's where painters get their art. They tune into these beautiful ideas that bubble around in all of us, whether it's in our hearts or in our minds, and the clutter we accumulate in life, which is all that fast moving energy and availability and options out there. We forget that we can just tune in and learn to shut it off by slowing down and by following very simple principles like if life's too busy, just take a break. If you're physically tired, rest. You need to allow yourself to let the busyness go, the unnecessary things that won't give us happiness at the end of the day. And most importantly, we need to do the work. Sometimes we forget that we can't, I'm very much into the law of attraction and attracting good things to us. And that's, of course, why I do my vision board, is because I do see a future for myself and I do see beautiful things that bring me joy. But at the same time, for the longest time, years as a matter of fact, I didn't actually put myself in my vision board. So I'm actually in here now, me in my vision. I forgot to include myself in my own dreams. So that's a good tip to live a more spiritual and fulfilled life. Put yourself in your dream. Take steps. Use your free will to build your self-esteem. Don't look outside yourself for people to acknowledge and build that for you. You can either build your dreams for you, or you can put all your hours into building somebody else's dream for them. And that's a real purpose. There's people out there that does give them immense joy. So if you have a friend and their joy is working for other people, don't judge them. As a matter of fact, after you watch this video, I really hope you utilize your free will. Less judgment. Mind your own business. Stay in your own lane. And most importantly, start writing the chapters of your own book as you see them. There are absolutely no life rules to follow that says that we have to do things. Tomorrow, we could all wake up if we wanted to and cancel our power. We could live off the grid. It would be difficult. We could grow our own food. We could help our communities, we could become volunteers. We can change so many things if we just take off our focus off what's wrong. That's what I find is desperately wrong with today's world in general, is our focus is not on what's right and doing right and what's doing well. My son's first grandfather was a teacher, and he used to always say to me, Natasha, are you going to be good for something? Are you going to be good for nothing? And honestly, the first part of my life, I was living from the good for nothing idea, because I didn't understand my own strength. I didn't understand my own power, my own beauty, and my own magic. Fortunately for me, I was able to slowly accumulate good things by listening to myself and contributing to my own self-worth, my own self-esteem. And I started looking inside myself for those answers, not outside myself. And I found that once I chose, because it's all about decisions, the reason we can't sleep at night, friends, is because we have unmade decisions. And for as long as we have unmade decisions, we are restless. We don't take initiative to be at ease, to create certainty, to paint a picture that's pleasing, and to follow through with what's most important to us. A lot of people are like me. We overcomplicate things. The best advice I ever got was when things seem too much out of control, to come back, sit still, and to gain your own self-control, to separate yourself from everything that does not no longer feel good, to change those beliefs. I used to believe for a great part of my life that money didn't come easy, that it was hard, that in order for me to be a success, I would need money and I would need an education. I wasted a lot of years spending time with people that had money and education that felt the exact same way that I did. That taught me that I'm enough. That the world wasn't necessarily right. Everybody's out there to sell something. Teachers sell education. You know, in order to get a good job and a good pay, you need a good education. But heaven forbid collecting experience that encourages you to be a good human and to be out there helping as best you can with those experiences that you've had to survive. That's how I found my life purpose, is listening to my inner guidance and realizing I needed to be teaching intuition, how to encourage your own intuition to help benefit your life, listening to that little inner voice inside of you that says, you've got this, you can do it, you're worth it. You need to be your own cheerleader. You need to have your own free will. You need to walk your own path. And even if it's lonely, once you move into a phase of acceptance, all of a sudden people come out of the woodwork to reassure you that you're on the right path. And I find that so fun. It's a completely different place to be. When I was living from scarcity and worry and not enough, my world didn't have any color. It really didn't. it was hard. It was exhausting. It just wasn't that pleasing. Once I shifted my spiritual life and my belief in my own guides, my own God, my own principles, my own integrity of who I am as a person, and I honored it. Like, I'm a farmer. I'm a farmer's daughter. I was born to farm and I know it. Me not farming was sucking the life out of me. Being an intuitive empath with psychic ability and not using those gifts were sucking the life out of me. So if you have gifts, friends, I encourage you to use them. If you have the gift of writing, write letters, write poems, write books, write blogs, write obituaries. We need writers. If your magical gift is art, start painting, start drawing, start tattooing, start encouraging others to do their work, their art. If you're a dancer, friends, put on those dancing shoes and dance, even if it's for yourself and your dogs and your 2 cats. Your body needs to move through life as if it matters. We need to encourage our bodies to be physically strong. And we need to take that serious. We just can't sit around waiting for someday. We need to take someday right out of our calendar. We need to train our hearts and our minds and our bodies and souls to get up each morning excited to be here. And it takes practice. It takes knowing yourself. Getting to know yourself and who you truly are can be the scariest thing on the planet. But I assure you, friends, it's going to be the best thing you've ever done. And when your time on earth is done, you'll be one of those happy ghosts that come back now and again to speak through mediums, to let loved ones know how beautiful life can be. We hold on to our grief and our pain and our trauma and our illness. We cling to it like it's a forever thing. And oftentimes it's not. It's a life lesson we need to move through and let go of. We need to be willing to face fear, to face ourselves and accept that we're growing and changing, no matter how hard it is, because it's so fulfilling. And if you're one of those people, friends, that are telling yourself that you can't do this because you're comparing yourself to the next person. If I were to compare myself to all the other intuitive empaths in the world, it just wouldn't make sense, because all our gifts are so vitally different. We have different ways of engaging. We have different ways of educating. We have different ways of embracing life and bringing our light to the table. So that's what I wanted to bring you today, is a little ruby to remind you that your darkness doesn't have to rule your life, that you can light your own fire. You don't have to buy yourself flowers, because when your fire's lit, there's people that will buy you flowers, darling. They really will. But you can be the light in your life. If you're a mom or dad and your relationships with your children have been suffering, I really want to encourage you right now to start living by your light. it's going to change everything for you. You can trust me. I know this for sure. If you love your children, do not give up on them. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on the love, even if it's hard. I want you to step up each day, light your own light, self-care, self-regulate, self-pursue your dreams of making it better. Holding on to the anger and the yeah buts is just going to keep it going. Not only will it keep it going, it will make it worse for more years than you'll be able to count. So that's my purpose, friends. It's just reminding you that your darkness is temporary, that your light is valuable and beautiful and worthwhile. So as I leave here today, thank you so much for liking, subscribing, following. Please drop me a comment below if you would like a mediumship reading or an Akashic record reading. Please reach out to me at The Cozy Cushion on Facebook. You can send me a message, or you can send me an email at thecozycushion@gmail.com. That's the only way I like to make appointments at this time, just because it's easier for me. I've been doing a lot of farming, so in the future, June, I'll have some baby chicks and baby ducks to show you, and hopefully some stuff I'll be growing in my garden as well. I'm a strong believer in trying our best to grow our own food. And as you move forward today, friends, you are loved by me. You deserve your best life. Work on your spiritual strength, your physical strength. Move that body. And don't overstuff yourself with things you don't need. Whether it's relationships, food, substances, doesn't matter. If you know you don't need it, please do less. And please make it okay. In some ways, friends, we're all in recovery from something. You're not broken. You're just waiting to find someone like me so that we can walk each other home and become whole by being compassionate. Thank you for tuning in, friends. I'll talk to you next week. Take care and do something cool. And then tell me about it below. Thank you. Bye for now.